I have since fixed that, as evidenced by the fact that you are here. Um, Having said that, having some technical issues with Facebook, and sometimes the Facebook feed just cuts out in the middle. So I haven't been able to stop it from doing that. So if it does, I apologize in advance. Um, you can join me on Zoom or join me on YouTube if that works for you. So at any rate, uh, I'm happy to be here. Nice to see you. Greetings to the people I can see on Zoom. Greetings to the people I cannot see on Facebook and YouTube. Happy to be with you. Today, I thought I would talk about equanimity. Uh, it's the holidays, in case you hadn't noticed. And for some people, it's tidings of comfort and joy. For some people, not so much. Um, Before I retired as a therapist, I was in private practice for more than 20 years. Um, it seemed to be a particularly stressful time for a lot of people I work with. There are expectations and sources of grief, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about equanimity today, because I think that that's something good to keep in mind during what can be a very busy time. And so, but why don't we meditate first? So first, I invite you to just find a comfortable posture. With your back straight, it's actually easier for your body to relax when your back is straight than when you're like slouching back in the chair. Um, but just a posture that's alert and comfortable. If you can, it helps to have your hips slightly higher than your knees. And tucking your chin a little bit. And as if you had like a string at the crown of your head and you pulled it up and tucked your chin a little bit, just to straighten out the top of your neck and spine without stretching or straining the muscles in the back of your neck and shoulders. And just let your gaze come down the bridge of your nose, lower your eyes, and that relaxes the muscles around your eyes. And gently close your eyes. And then let's just become aware of the touch points, what you're experiencing, what your body is experiencing in this present moment. Noticing the feeling of your feet on the floor or your legs on the floor if you're sitting on a cushion. Noticing the sensation of your bottom on the chair or the cushion, what that contact feels like. Noticing the sensations in your hands resting in your lap. Noticing how that feels on your legs. Noticing how that feels on your hands. Noticing the ambient temperature of the room. Is it warm? Is it cool? Is it neutral? And let slow, deep breaths into the belly, just letting your belly expand. And noticing the sensations of your shoulders may rise a little when you inhale, fall a little when you exhale. And the relaxation of the belly and the chest as you breathe out. Just one more long, slow, deep breath. And letting your breathing return to normal. And just letting your body sink into the seat. Just allowing gravity to do its thing. There's nothing to hold. There's no tension to hold. Just letting your body relax and soften into the present. And let your attention come to the sensations of breathing. Noticing the sensations of the in-breath from the bottom of the exhale, just riding down all the way to the top. And noticing the sensations at the top of the in-breath, and noticing your body transitioning to an out-breath. And noticing the sensations of the full length of breathing out. There's nothing to do, the body does this on its own. And noticing the body transitioning from the end of the out breath to the beginning of the in breath. And just letting your attention stay focused on breathing, on the sensations of the body breathing. For some people, it's easier to focus on the sensations of air moving in and out of your nose. Some people focus on the sensations of the chest or the belly moving up and down. Whichever you find easier or most drawn to. Some people focus on the overall global sensation of the body breathing. Whatever works. Just letting your attention rest on the breath. Just aware of the body breathing in and out. Your mind wanders off, which it does. It's not a problem. It's not anything we can actually do anything about. The mind's function is to think. Just notice thinking without getting caught up in the content of the moment of the thought stream. Just thinking is a phenomenon. Bring your attention back to your breathing. And if it works for you, on the exhale, imagine just relaxing the thinking muscle, or imagine it like sediment settling at the bottom of a lake, becoming more and more still. It's all good. You can't do it wrong. Thoughts come and go. And we return to the breath. Thoughts arise, sensations arise, feelings arise. They come, they go. They're not a problem. If we start to feel uncomfortable, we're still okay. It's just the conditions of the moment. It all comes and goes. The breath is a constant. And we can return to it without tension or recrimination, or wondering whether we're doing it right. Just gently ease back, compassionately, to our focus on the breath as many times as we need to. And as we come towards the end of this sitting, I invite you to notice whatever state you're experiencing now. And decide that it's okay. That the essence of equanimity is to be with whatever we're experiencing in the moment and decide that we're okay. And may it be that the benefits of this practice, this meditation, enable us to look out at the world around us with compassion and kindness, and to spread that energy into our households, into our neighborhoods, into the world at large, to view the world through kind eyes, to meet the world with compassion, to be kind and gentle and compassionate with ourselves. And may we know that we're okay even in the midst of difficulties. That feelings are not facts, and thoughts are not truths. May the benefits of this practice be of benefit to all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be at ease and at peace. Thank you for your practice, and good morning again. A couple of announcements. I will be here next week. It's Christmas morning, and I will be here. I put the usual information in the Zoom chat, and I will publish it on Facebook and in YouTube, how to reach these sessions, my contact information, my website, how to get in touch with me if you need to, and feel free to. And there's a link for donations if you feel so moved. There is no requirement or not even a request. I do this for fun and for free. Buddha said, "I'll show you the way." He didn't say, "Yeah, and it'll cost you $50." Generosity is the first principle of the 10 parts of purification, and I'm happy to be here doing this. So today we're talking about equanimity. And I first came upon this concept in the Dharma through what's known as the Brahma Viharas, the four boundless states. And there's a little sort of chant that goes with that that says, may you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May you have happiness in the causes of happiness. May you never be separated from sorrowless joy that is beyond suffering. And may you live in equanimity, without attachment or aversion to other sentient beings. And the four boundless states are loving kindness, which teaches us a way to be in the world, also known as metta in Pali. Compassion or karuna, which protects kindness from falling into sentimentality, also helps us to be able to see empathically, with empathy, into the suffering of others. Sympathetic joy, which helps us to temper the raw edges of sorrow and pain, and equanimity, which brings kindness, compassion, patience, and steadiness. And the four divine abodes, these are qualities that we cultivate. We don't like snap our fingers and get them. We cultivate because to experience them is to have our hearts open. And we can think of the four divine abodes as four little casitas, four sacred little houses where we can dwell when times get rough. And equanimity is said to be an anchor that protects you from the worldly winds of pleasure and pain, praise and blame, gain and loss, fame and disrepute, by keeping us anchored so we don't have to be tossed around by those winds. That's a quote from Daisy Hernandez in her book, The Normal Abode of Equanimity. Equanimity suggests living without attachment or aversion. It's the middle way. In this culture, we're taught to cling to what feels good and reject what feels bad, and ping-ponging back and forth between attachment and aversion. And to me, that feels like trying to find a steady stance in a room that's always going up and down. Equanimity offers us a kind of steadiness. When we encounter suffering, we can't stop no matter how hard we try. Equanimity helps us avoid creating more suffering and helps us avoid absorbing that as suffering of our own. It's the art of recognizing that you're having an unpleasant experience or that you're upset, and still being able to decide that you're okay at the same time. It's an attitude of not getting sucked into and overwhelmed by whatever's going on and not turning away in indifference because it's hard. It helps us focus on goodwill, being effective. Now, I say this like it's easy. It's not. It's simple, but it's not easy. And it's something we learn because of all of the conditioning of whenever we feel sad or angry or depressed or anxious, is make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. And there's a way that we amplify suffering by rejecting it, by rejecting whatever our experience is, which just makes it harder. We walk around feeling like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. I don't want this, which is another layer on top of a layer of suffering on top of it. Sylvia Boorstein, the Dharma teacher and spirit rock teacher and writer, who's my favorite book of hers is Don't Just Do Something, Sit There, describes equanimity as the ability of the mind to accommodate passion without losing its balance. It's a mind that sees clearly, that meets experience with cordial intent. I like that, cordial intent. To be moved sometimes intensely, and still remain balanced. Without that quality of balance, it's easy to get confused and confuse compassion with pity or loving kindness with attachment. And it takes practice. Something as simple as we're experiencing sadness, maybe intense sadness, or anger, or grief, and just saying, take a deep breath. I'm okay. I'm okay. And that's not to make it go away. It will probably make it a little lighter, but just remembering we're having this experience. I don't have to reject it. It's just sort of something that comes and goes. And one of the things about these sorts of feelings and states is they come and go. They are not destinations. The more we reject them, the longer they last. Okay. What we resist persists. So equanimity allows us to see clearly and respond without reacting. It's a mindfulness practice, because mindfulness is, among other things, the practice of being able to see clearly what is happening, what our experience is, separate that from the narrative, separate that from the thought stream, see things as they are, and respond. Otherwise, what we often do, you can think of the mind as like a giant filing cabinet stretching out behind your eyes. And it's really too easy to have something happen in front of us and we reach back into it and find a file that looks kind of like it, and we put it in front of us, and then we view the world as that, with that as a filter. Equanimity suggests that we don't have to do that, and mindfulness suggests that we don't have to do that. Equanimity suggests that we can appreciate whatever state we're in without aversion, without attachment. If we're feeling joy, if we're feeling excited, if we're feeling happy, it's a wonderful thing, and I really like it. If I cling to it, like I have to have it, all states of mind come and go. When that starts to fade, then there's suffering because I want it. Equanimity suggests these things come and go, and I'm still okay. Buddhist teacher Gina Sharp reminds listeners in a Dharma talk I heard not long ago that upekkha, equanimity, means balance. It also means to stand in the middle of this. The world is like swirling around, and I'm standing in the middle of it. It's an art. I call it an art because an art is something that you have to practice. I practice mindfulness meditation. I practice writing. I collect Native American flutes. I practice. People who've been coming to these talks have heard me mention Pablo Casals, the great cello player, over and over again, because he practices like 6 to 8 hours, or he did practice 6 to 8 hours every day. He was the master. And someone said, why do you do that? And he said, I might be improving. You know, Eric Clapton would practice 6 to 10 hours at a time. It's called woodshedding in the guitar fondants. We practice these things, and we practice them with gentleness. We don't say, oh my God, I'm falling into it. And we might. And then we notice that we're doing that, and we can just take some deep breaths and remind ourselves that we're okay. It takes practice, and it takes patience, and it takes some tolerance, because we still have that thing built in that says, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. So here we are at the holidays. And maybe Aunt Martha is mad because you don't want to eat her favorite fruitcake, or maybe Aunt Martha is your favorite fruitcake. It's okay. She's allowed to do that. You don't have to get swept up in it. I believe that part of taking care of ourselves in the holidays is maintaining the regular boundaries that we would maintain every other, during all the rest of the time. I don't go anywhere where I don't want to go, and I certainly don't eat anything that I don't want to eat. I don't hang out with people who I don't want to hang out with. I start with kindness and compassion and equanimity towards myself. I invite you to do the same. And equanimity implies a certain acceptance, not acceptance of injustice, because that's a misconception. It's not passively accepting the unacceptable, but allows us to recognize our experience of that and be clear. It's the middle way. Holding on to a mind, holding in the mind that I'm not, holding in the mind that is not okay, that I am in fact okay. My friend Jeannie DePro, who was my supervisor when I was a hospice counselor, wrote one of my favorite books. It's called The Earth House. She writes about this very eloquently. No one who has ever tried it says this path is easy. It's only preferable to the alternative, which leads down into fear and endless desperate scrambling and the death of the spirit. Nothing guarantees that if I accept my pain, I will be a happy person. This path is not concerned with happiness in the ordinary sense of the word, but with a higher kind of joy. What Buddhists call a joyful participation in the sorrows of the world. I have seen people who I suspect have come to feel this. In them, the thick wall of the ego has worn papery thin, and they become luminous as lanterns. So it's a path through gentleness and kindness. It's a good way to navigate the holiday season. And remember to take care of yourself. And since this is the last talk I'm going to give, and before Christmas, and Hanukkah starts tonight. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Festivus for the rest of us. I have a holiday poem that I wrote that I thought I would share with you. It's called Light. The light may feel far away, but brighter the day and deeper the night, it lights the way to peace. Yes, peace is real and true and whole. And even though we may not see it, light follows us from day to day, town to town, from your deepest heart to the hand you hold. Perhaps it's a tree or 8 candles. Perhaps it's Buddha or 12 steps. Perhaps you are lost, waiting to feel the warmth of this season. Know this, my friend. Light enfolds you, unfolds you, caresses your deepest fear into the glow of compassion, holds the gentle heart of desire with acceptance and love, transforms suffering into joy. It is yours. Thank you for your kind attention. Any questions about equanimity, thoughts on any of that? Can give it up and go back to being a cab driver, which isn't that far afield from when I was a therapist, by the way.
Thanks, Ken.
Hi, Julie.
Happy holidays. So I read the definition of equanimity is mental calmness, composure, and evenness of mind, even in a difficult situation. Is that how you would define it?
Yeah, that's a really good definition. The book.
I kind of forgotten what it was until you kept mentioning the word equanimity, so I looked it up.
Appreciate that. You're in a boat, it's being tossed around, right? But the boat's not sinking, it's just being tossed around. you're not sinking either. Yeah, we don't always feel calm and centered and relaxed. Even the Dalai Lama, I saw this documentary on the Dalai Lama. You can't be exposed to him without having it change you, right? And he goes, I'm not, I can't do the accent really well, but I loved it. He goes, sometimes I get short with people. Then we move on, right? So he experiences these states. I got to see him in Mountain View, California. He came, filled the amphitheater, which was very cool. And he was there for 3 days teaching. And on the third night, he took questions. And someone said, what about anger and frustration? And he just kind of like shrugged, says, no, I experienced that. You're going to have these states. That's just the way it is. Life is set up like that. Jesus got angry, Buddha got confused and scared. We can all lighten up on ourselves a little bit. But we can decide at any moment that we are okay. We don't have to get swept up into like recrimination and make it stop. And it's exactly as you just defined it, Julie. And we approach that, right? You're not going to like wake up tomorrow morning and that person at work is going to be reminding you why you wouldn't be doing this if they weren't paying you. Right? And you may not be able to just like snap out of it.
Yeah.
But you can be gentle with yourself. That's the first step.
Right now, I'm not experiencing anger so much as stress and trying to get everything done for the holidays. This time of year is always like running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
What if that's okay? It's just the condition of the time, as the I Ching likes to say. The Taoists like to talk about the conditions of the time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story about that I may have shared with you before about that kind of stress. I was a newspaper reporter for 20 years before I quit, went back to school and got my therapist license. Yes, I'm old enough to have two 20-year-long careers. And I used, I don't know if you notice on Sundays, at the Chronicles on Mondays, they do those big, huge takeout stories, miles of copy and charts and graphs and all this in-depth research. And I used to do those. They would take me off the daily news beat for a month and I would work on that. And I would lose my mind, especially in the last several days where I was focused on the writing. I would like just be crazy. And then I noticed something really important. The paper never had to run a full page picture of white cheese blowing in a snowstorm because I didn't make it. Right? The work always got done. And I noticed something. If I lose my mind, or if I don't, the results are the same. Right? Everything gets done. And some of it, look, it's the holidays, stuff's going to fall through the cracks. That's okay. You're doing the best you can. It's okay.
Yeah.
We can get all wound up with that or not. We can have a choice. But anytime you notice that that's happening to you, you can just pause, take some deep breaths. Remember that by next Monday, it'll be over. Everybody will be happy with whatever happens. Some people who are always resentful will be resentful. Some people who are always happy will be happy. Some people will think that gift is the greatest thing they've ever seen, and some people won't even know what it is. And be saying, what is wrong with her? And it's all good. And you can breathe into it and be okay.
Thanks, Ken.
This coming from the guy who used to go camping in the Arizona desert during the holidays. So
smart.
It's too far from here. Anybody else?
I have a comment on that. I usually think of the holidays as the time not to get run over by Santa's sleigh. And the solstice really appeals to me because the leaves are gone, the trees have sucked everything down into their roots to survive the winter. And we usually build fires in our hearth to keep ourselves warm.
I like that.
And this year, like Julie's stress, of trying to get everything done, this year I realized it's because I think of everybody I love, everybody who's meant something to me, everybody that I care about. And that list really gets larger, like Ken and I, as we get older. And it just allowed me to step back and say, don't be stressed out about it. Enjoy this. Enjoy this, because you are recognizing all of the fruits of your own life. And now, Ken, you might know where this comes from. There's some saying about we really are the sky. Everything else is just weather.
Yeah, I've seen that. Cornfield says that. Thich Nhat Hanh, I think, has said that. And in my mind goes to Pema Chodron, but
Emma, yeah.
Yeah. I remember a lot of this stuff, but I don't remember where a lot of it comes from. I'm really good at remembering the first and last stanzas of poems, but none of the stuff in the middle. So, but it's true, we are the sky. Everything is weather. Everything is just a cloud passing through. Stephen Levine said, it's just a cloud. It's a little wispy at the edges, dense in the middle, and wispy at the edges. So,
best holiday to all of you.
Yeah.
The sun starts returning this week.
What part of the anxiety of the holidays that I noticed from my time as a therapist is people are afraid that somebody's going to be unhappy with them. Well, I was a newspaper reporter for 20 years. Somebody was always unhappy with you, just kind of in the background. It's okay. They're allowed to do that. We don't have to make that up. We don't have to own it. Mine, not mine. So.
Thank you very much, and happy holidays to all of you as well.
Have a great time.
Speaking of which, I got a pumpkin pie in the oven. So.
The World Cup starts in 2 minutes.
It's good to see you guys again. Missed you last week.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.